Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back once again to Ara History Untold, to also exploring patch 1.4 once again with all its improvements. And welcome back to another sponsored video by Stardock Entertainment. Thank you very much for this, and if you're interested in this game, please don't forget to check out the link in the description to learn more about Ara. And we continue onwards with the great Japanese Empire. 2 cities we have. My next goal would be to get me a third one out and also start creating our first government that we haven't done yet so far. I also have one more city cap that we really should be using, so the settlers are pushing. The only question that I have is where should we get those settlers? So we could go for this area, which would strategically be, of course, very wise to do so. There's not that much to go for it. We got the grapes, that's it. Up here in the north, well, situation is even more dire. There's not a single strategic resource that we can use. Though don't forget, of course, more will pop up as we get the tech, so there might still be some mysteries lurking here. More on that later. My scouts continue for the next territory over here. Finding us another empire would be also great. We already found Belgium, right, and hopefully they're not too hostile towards us. Let's end the turn, because in this turn we also get the message by Belgium, what they do, and they accept my gift, and with that we improve our relationship a bit with them. Though don't forget, they could also have their own agenda, and then reputation doesn't mean anything. Alright, next in line.
People tell stories of the seat of the divine. At the gates, a statue of a god as tall as a mountain looms, imposing, welcoming, awe-inspiring. No nation has built such a structure, but the first to do so would surely stand apart.
Alright, this gives me a goal, in fact, and that's the Colossus of Rhodes, and this gives me lots of prestige coming out of this, and this is now a goal. However, it will take quite some time for 150 prestige. We'll just see if that is worth it. Oh, pigs. Nice. Close to them. That's Belgium right over there. So that's the empire that we already discovered. So my scouts continue up here to the north, where they should be going. My archers we could use to slaughter more animals, but my spearmen are already doing it over here. So I'm probably gonna cross over now and just see what's over there as well. Turn 37 it is. Oh, nice. My spearmen leveled up. Right, level 2 it is. And there it is, the Bronze Age is upon us as well. This gives me the Swordsman now. It also gives me another city cap that we can use, and the Stone Pit improvement, which is important because we get some minerals that we can mine over there. And with that, the new era has been achieved. The Bronze Age also sees local traditions replaced with organized religions and structured worship, a new cornerstone of these societies. With formalized laws and large societies, new leadership is required. The first pharaohs, kings and queens appear. Alright, also, this is the most overwhelming thing, what to choose out of all of these tags. Now, two important ones are striking me right away. That's trading and the wheel. The wheel gives me also the ability to build roads, and it gives me the wheel that boosts my crafting, and it gives me also a boost to my logging camp. Let's go for the wheel first, as I really want to start also making or building roads between my cities. Now up here we got the fox hunting grounds, but that's about it again. Dude, we're really unlucky there with the strategic resources so far. Oh, okay. I might have found myself another city slot. Honestly, this one looks fantastic. There's obsidian here, there's rice, and there's sheep. This is a very good tile. I would actually like to call it an S tier tile based on what we found so far, together with this one here. Right, so we probably need to rush for this if Belgium isn't first. Alright, crafting, amenities achieved. We get a new event here clicking, and there's my settlers. Let's move them right over way. This one looks good. Right, so I'm probably gonna settle here.
A red-headed young man from the Garmir clan is looking to open a new business. He's a capable herbalist, but his family's background is in metallurgy. Meanwhile, his hobby is creating reed pipes to sell to traders. He makes a promising case for each venture and requests national funding for one of his enterprises.
Okay, where do we want to go? Irrigation, chariots, or trading? Yeah, let's go for fund the trading reed pipes. Prosperity in your capital is reduced by 5 turns, but it gives me research in trading. I would like to do this, as trading is one of my other very interested techs that we definitely want to push for. Over here we cleared something. I'm a bit hesitant to go for the beer. the bear over there. Oh, look at that. There's a meteorite. Did this appear out of nowhere? This gives me materials and also then something heavy metal that we could use. Not for dancing and tuning, but for harvesting. Let's go for the bear over there. We should be able to kick this one. Okay, the archers, there's really nothing they could do here. Actually might still find me that small tile up there. Turn 40 days, there's nothing. And that means I'm gonna send my archers now over here to clear also some animals that we might find. For Kyoto, we're building the granary right now. And then the dwelling. We also will need to queue in another settler. Question is, do we want to push the settler first? The settler will take 7 turns to finish. We could also speed things up, by the way. And I'm actually interested in that. Yes, rush the project for the granary. This will finish it next turn. And this actually saves me 4 turns for my construction. These two together will take 13 turns, right? The dwelling and the settlers. In 13 turns, we get the next pop. That means that once we reach 5 of 5, we do not grow anymore. So that should not happen ever. That means I need to really finish that dwelling. But those together should actually make a deal. 13, right? But it's 14 actually with this one. I also want to rush another city. You know what? Let's actually push the settler forward. It's more important to me right now. We have, by the way, jewelry, city happiness, and prosperity. We do lose a lot of prosperity right now because of the event. And Kyoto, yeah, we leveled up. So in this case here, we can queue this one in. He finished it. What did we get out of that animal? 5 food and 1 feast. Okay. You definitely will need to heal though. And look at that. Yeah, we've made this area a safer place, at least for now. Okay, this is gonna be important. Where should we settle with those guys? We could go for this one. This one has lots of resource yields. This one has nice space. Don't forget, you know, for me, this one is not a good spot to settle right away, but to grow towards. Because there's not a lot of buildings you can have here, right? So I probably... I mean, we could settle here, right? Because then I could grow into this and into this area here. And I think I'm gonna go ahead to grab me this right now, because I don't know where Leopold here goes next, right? So I want to save me that turn and actually settle here right away. And this is a very, very good location, right? And we can then grow our city into this area down the road. That's my thought process. Okay, that would be the 3rd city, and I think it's aligned quite nicely here, right? Those 3 cities now.
One's life continues in one's
Okay, we get the
legacy.
next quest here,
A
the Library of
military commander of unparalleled
Celsus.
skill and bravery.
That's another goal that we have. So we can now decide what kind of goal we want to achieve. But of course we need to, yeah, unlock us some tech on its way to that. Okay, city founded. I cannot pronounce that. So I do rename it into a city where I actually know how to pronounce it. Nagasaki. And we're gonna also get this one a feast. So we have now 3 cities consuming feasts, right? That means feast production is very important. It gets more important now. Next, we can now go for an improvement. The farm would, of course, make the most sense because this gives me a lot of food in addition. We also got the sheepies over here. It would give me wool. I'd rather go with the food though for now because I really want to push my population. And the gathering hall can actually produce feasts here. I'm not going to use though this wealth boost. Right, and we might actually also not use that food boost because I want to grow faster. But without that... Nah, let's use the food boost, right, to at least get some out of that. So all 3 cities produce now feasts. By the way, we could accelerate the farm here, and I would like to do this for Urava because that gives me the food boost earlier, and with that we can grow faster in that city. And we can also build now roads, right? Manage roads, yes. We can now build a road between Urava and Kyoto. This costs me 25 materials, and it's connecting those cities instantly. That speeds up traveling and trading between them. I would also like to go for Kyoto to Nagasaki with the other materials that we have, right? And with that, we're also building a road system now. It's gonna take some time. It's not finished instantly. But once it is, it's gonna give us a lot of profit, hopefully. Belgium, once again. So patch 1.4 also enhanced AI capabilities. And we should be seeing this then as well. Okay, turn 45. There's a lot of things happening now every turn, so we gotta be careful where we go for. First of all, Urawa can now go for the next project since we finished the farming. And the fishing nest, of course, makes sense. Most important is actually the dwelling. Look at that. We're growing. And then we're at the limit. I totally missed the dwelling here. So let's actually get this one in. And I hope we can rush this then at some point. Kind of like missed how fast Urawa was growing, honestly. I know. Alright, 32 turns, right? So I misread. I was already wondering, this can't be right. Let's go for the next claim. We leveled up Urawa. And of course, I would like to go for this one here. Toturi. Gives me food, materials, wood, and it gives me those two special materials. This makes sense to me to grow to. Alright, we can also go for the next Paragon. We already have a Chief Advisor that I would like to use. So now it's either for Domestic Advisor, Cultural Advisor, or Masterpiece Proficiency. Force is something I usually don't want to go again. So let's just see. Build production towards religion, build production towards military buildings, build production towards triumph improvements. Out of these, actually, none is really good, I think, at least, right? So we got the Paragon spawn chance is increased by 5% if we get him into Domestic Advisor. This one here, on the other hand, gives me a 25% build production speed towards Triumph Improvements, which we probably want to go for as well at some point. Yet I'm gonna go with Monarchy to get me that Paragon chance. Right, so this is probably what makes the most sense to me, that we spawn another one ASAP. Alright, up here we get some copper. Treasures. Let's just collect some treasures, honestly. Okay, next turn we finish the next settler. That is my last settler that we can have for now. And then we're at the city cap. So we have the option to go either down here to get me also the grapes improvement. Or we go up here into the north to get to get this huge landmass there. I think I'm actually going to go with this area here. Lots of forest as well. The question is just where do we want to settle here? We could actually forward settle towards Belgium. Look at them. They actually claimed this territory, so their goal was to expand into this area all along. This is very dangerous, so I'm gonna go ahead and settle here, right? Because I want to forward settle. I want to block them from getting closer to my capital. That's my goal here. For this, let's also get the archers over, in fact, to protect them against those animals. Alright, that should be fine. The wheel has been researched, that we're getting a few improvements here. And we can also go for the next one. I wanted to go for trading. Have we finished trading? Looks like it. Code of Law to unlock me my first government is also very important. And Nagasaki finished the... Oh, it's not finished the farm yet, but we can claim a new territory in Nagasaki. And I would like to do this. I probably would like to go over here to block them from advancing further. I think this makes a lot of sense to me, yeah. Okay, so we block them. So Nagasaki will play a pretty important role in future. Strategically. And Kyoto can also grow. That's harsh. So probably go into Fukushima, because this is the next logical choice for expansion here. As we can, you know, continue developing the city then down here to the south, as we're running out of space in the north. This makes sense. Also, oh, this was quick. Nagasaki leveled up already to 2. That's fantastic. By the way, we can also assign a specialist now into my city. Assigning one boosts the respective output, right? So this one here, the Great Half, would actually give me 5 more coin. This one here gives me 150% craft production at the granary. And this one here gives me 150% harvest production at the farm. That means more food. Let's actually go for the Great Half, because it gives me the improvement for the feasts, but also it gives me lots of coin that we can use. The dwelling is about to be finished in 1 turn in Kyoto, which is important because we're at the limit here. And I really want to focus now on another production building that allows me to create tools, right? So we got the bakery here, for example, where we can make, for example, bread. That could be helpful. We can also make preserved food. We could make pastries. Oh, this has a nice effect. There are 2 very important ones, in my opinion at least. That's the workshop. That's number 1. This one allows me the production of certain tools. We don't have a workshop yet as far as I know. And this one we can use then to boost, for example, farming output. On the other hand, we got the trading post. This one here generates wealth by itself, but it also produces the trade goods that we can use out of fur, for example. That would then give me a lot of boosting to cities for 10 turns, for example. So this is a very nice improvement there. I'm gonna go ahead with the workshop first so that we can boost our farming. And in this case, let's get the workshop going here, right? And my goal would be to have a trade post then in this location as well. By the way, we can use another tool. Jewelry sounds nice for city prosperity and happiness. Let's go ahead and boost these stats there as well for Kyoto. Honestly, I'm a big fan of the city development in this game. I like it. I like how we can specialize those cities and how many things there are to do to manage already in early game cities. Okay, we have the settlers finally, and we're gonna move them over here to also found me Tournai, my next city. Very nice. This is now city number 4. With that, we're at the cap for the moment, and we also blocked Belgium from going further here, so we should be having a free claim at this one and at this one down the road. Speaking about claims, we are claiming that wolf now with the scouts, and then I'm probably going to move up here further to the north, but since it's getting a bit snowy there, so we're moving into another climate zone, I'm not expecting an AI opponent there, honestly. Alright, what to do with the city? First of all, of course, we want to use a feast again. Now, we might be running out of feast if we continue down this path for that much longer. That is something to consider. And project-wise, we do have these smaller tiles available right now. I'm not going to go ahead with a farm at this point, I think. I'm actually going to have a bakery here, right? I mean, at first glance, it might not make the most sense. But we can produce then bread finally out of this, and this works for all my cities, right? So I want to get the bakery done. It's gonna take some time. It's not gonna be that much though, 15 turns. I'm sure it's not gonna be that long. Kyoto finished another project. Now we could work on the trading post right away. That is my goal, and I'm gonna make the trading post where it makes sense to me. So probably right next here to my other workshop already. Speaking about the workshop, we can now produce something. So we have this general overview over my national economy where we have all the production buildings available that I can use, right? And we can now, for example, say, produce me something here that we can then equip. So my farms have nothing at the moment. So plow would be much appreciated. So I'm gonna go ahead and start producing me now some of these here, right? This will take 30 turns, but of course we can boost this. Yeah, using a lot of money, right? But we can get these plows out, and I would like to do this right away. Okay, the Great Lighthouse we could go for now. The Lighthouse of Alexandria that was built during the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt in the 3rd century. That is another goal now. So these are, you know, if someone else reaches that goal, it's gone. Now for Urava, it makes sense for me now to build the stone pit finally on this copper deposit, so we get materials out of that, but also copper as my first very important resource. Only takes 10 turns, so that is actually a rather quick improvement all the way here. Next in line, yeah, so let's clear some wolves again. And look at the list of stuff that is happening now. So we finish improvements. For example, the trading post has been finished now in Kyoto, and you can also just see how all of this is coming along. There is now my trading goods, and we can now boost that with fur, for example, right? And we get 19 fur available. So finally it makes sense to use this and, yeah, reduce the construction time to only 1/3 of what it was previously. We could also use leather, fabric that we still have, and here we could use paper. We have 1 paper, in fact. I'm not gonna do this though. 15 will be fine, and we can use this then in my cities. We're running out of baskets, so it makes sense to switch to codex now. And Kyoto, yeah, is growing nicely. Look at that. We also got the main road here, right? Goes over, and then we get the city forming around the center there. Okay, Belgium, we lose a bit of reputation with them. There is no chance that he would go for a trade agreement, I guess, right? We could send him something. Let's try. I might also just give him something in return. Gifting him something. The Codex activated in Urava as well. Gives me a bit of research boost. The Code of Laws is being finished next turn. That's going to be pretty important. Workshop-wise, I'm considering really pushing my plows a bit further, honestly, with materials now. Nice, we can do this. And half the time again it takes for this, right? It's very important that we get the plows out. By the way, since we do have a lot of improvements right now, the trading post, what tool would the trading post need? A basket? Yeah, it would be nice if we could create some baskets as well, right? There they are. I do need another workshop, honestly. That is my next target. As a matter of fact, we could build a second workshop in Kyoto if I want to. In fact, I might actually make an apothecary. It's a very quick building. It improves the city health that is deteriorating already. And it allows me to produce some herbs and stuff like that. Also, we can upgrade this one into a chemist later down the road and into a pharmacy way later down the road. This makes sense to me. Also, we have a bit of space available still. Let's have it here also in the city center, right? And then we probably go for another dwelling here at some point later. Scouting wise, yeah, it's really just the desolated north, I think, what I see for the moment. Let's go for the next hunts. We want to hunt a bit to get the furs, right? Because they are a nice boost. And there it is, Code of Laws. This is pretty important. It unlocks me the Monarchy as my next government type, right? So we can now change the government. And we can now say, I want to push to Monarchy. This increases my city cap as well to 5. And it gives me a bunch of bonuses. First of all, we can now decide the taxes. But I'm gonna keep them low, right? I'm feeling pretty confident right now where we are money-wise. So that's okay. We can then choose a policy. Do we want to push for knowledge? Do we want to push for a balance to +10 to all quality of life stats in the city it is built, right? Or do we want to go for city siege defense boost? Let's go for knowledge, because this pushes my research. Also, we get security and prosperity in the capital. And with that, we are adopting into Monarchy. I think in the next turn, we have achieved it. And this is now really important. The next tag potentially unlocks me a monument. So we would have the option with the Great Pyramid of Giza here. Over here, we also have the Colossus of Rhodes now, which is one of my goals, right? The problem, though, is that this one has a very bad bonus, whereas the pyramids have a very good bonus, the city prosperity boost. It costs me, though, 10 ropes, 15 ceramic pots, and 10 lithic tools. That is something we don't even have, or we're not even close to this. So I'd rather go probably into leatherworking first. This is a very quick tag. And then I'm pushing for something else along the way. And Belgium accepted my trade agreement, which is great because it pushes now my reputation with them. Also, we can now trade with them directly. And they would like to go for flowers, for example, that we can produce, by the way. We can grow again with Tournay, or the first time, is it? It's the first time. And yeah, it's a very obvious choice for this one. Of course, it's Ostend, because not only does it provide the most bonuses, but we also grow towards Belgium there. We have finished the first plow. This is great stuff, indeed. And with that, we can now use the farm in Kyoto, for example, to activate a plow in it, right? And this pushes now the harvest production. I think we can actually push another one. Nah. Not for this one at the moment, anyway. But that's a lot more food coming out of it, and with that we have a surplus of 30 food now.
A message reaches you from a foreign leader who has constructed a brilliant gate to protect one of their great cities.
He wants to build a gate, and he wants our help for this. Provide materials, deny the request. 100 materials is a lot.
Believing that you can appreciate their need for splendorous yet sturdy walls.
But it pushes our relationship greatly. I'm actually gonna do this since we have lots of materials anyway. Oh, we're at the end of this. Yep, this is the end of the visible map that we can go for here. Apothecary has been finished, so we can now start producing something here. It's also using metal tools right away. I'm actually gonna make this empty because I'm not entirely sure I want to use that. And we can now have the herbal medicine here that pushes city health. 20 coin they would like. They would also consume mandrakes. That is something I do actually have, a few of them. And once we have the farming improvement in Ura-wise, so I already know my next improvement here. That is the mandrake farming over here. So we can permanently push out those special materials. And by the way, Urava has grown, right? Yes. We can go for... I could go for the meteorite over there. But I cannot harvest it yet. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. Going towards the ocean makes sense to me. For the food, for the wealth, and also to have access to shipbuilding. Let's go ahead and do this. The Adriatic Sea. I'm gonna use my archers. Yeah, but let's actually clear the wolves first, and then I'm gonna use them to scout a bit further. So far so good. 4 cities we have that grow now. I would like to expand to a 5th city up there. The settlers are in construction. And we continue onwards then with trading, yeah, expansion, and hopefully dominating this game in Ara History Untold. Don't forget to check out the link in the description to learn more about this one. Stay tuned.